Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am Captain Nick Genovese, and I will be the narrator for Class 2404. Please rise for the entrance of the official party and remain standing for the rendering of honors, the national anthem, and personal reflection. Before we continue, we welcome all to take a moment for personal reflection in accordance with your individual beliefs. Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, I present the DO of the 23rd Flying Training Squadron, Lieutenant Colonel Cindy Tope.
Good afternoon. On behalf of the 23rd Commander, Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Coughlin, I would like to extend a warm welcome to our families, friends, and distinguished guests of the 23rd. Also, thank you to the Army Aviation Museum for hosting our ceremony, and the Garrison Army Aviation Center of Excellence for their daily support and partnership. We could not do our mission without you. I would also like to recognize and thank key members of the 23rd team for their efforts in training class 2404, the senior enlisted leader, Master Sergeant Eric McElroy, representing our Amentum instructor team, Mr. Kyle Taylor, representing the Order of Dedallions, also Mr. Kyle Taylor, representing our M1 aircraft maintenance team, Mr. Archie Godwin, and also a special thanks to Ms. Anita Valdez, Lieutenant Ryan Johnston, Staff Sergeant Alejandro Lamas, our MTLs, the 23rd Front Office team, and the many lieutenants who made the details of this graduation possible. The mission of the 23rd Flying Training Squadron is to train undergraduate aircrew members in foundational vertical lift operations. We are here today to celebrate another mission accomplishment as these 7 officers successfully completed the rigors of undergraduate helicopter training. These officers benefited from the leadership and professionalism of the squadron's contractor, civilian, and military personnel. Thank you to all 23rd cadre for your dedication to this mission and getting these young aviators to the stage today. Finally, to the friends and families of our graduates, this is not the first and certainly not the last significant accomplishment they will have as they progress in their Air Force careers. The strong foundation that you have done to get them here will continue to support them as they continue to excel in the Air Force. Finally, our graduation speaker today is Lieutenant Colonel Thaddeus Renaud. He is the commander of the 41st Rescue Squadron at Moody Air Force Base, Georgia. He is responsible for the only operational HH-60W Jolly Green II Rescue Squadron with 110 aircrew and support personnel. Lieutenant Colonel Renaud ensures that his rescue squadron is ready for worldwide combat search and rescue missions in support of joint and coalition operations to meet national security objectives. The squadron also supports a variety of personnel recovery missions such as civil search and rescue, humanitarian assistance, and disaster relief. Lieutenant Colonel Renaud earned his commission in 2005 as a graduate of the United States Air Force Academy. He is also a graduate of the United States Air Force Weapons Officer Course and Marine Command and Staff College. His 8 combat deployments include Operations Enduring Freedom, Inherent Resolve, and Octave Quartz. He's a senior pilot with more than 3,100 flying hours, 411 combat hours, and over 100 combat sorties, 100 in combat saves. He has been an aircraft instructor and evaluator and has served a decorated career both as an aviator and a leader. Lieutenant Colonel Renaud, thank you for joining us to share your experience and wisdom with the class.
All right, well, thank you all very much for the warm welcome and the kind words. I will attempt to not shout into the microphone, but I've lost some hearing over time, so I will back up just a little bit. You guys get a jump start on the hearing loss, it'll be great. I'd be remiss if I didn't say hello to one of the commanders who was in charge when I graduated from this course a while back, so sir, it's great to see you here today. But again, ladies and gentlemen, our distinguished guests, thank you all very much for everything. Thank you for the welcome, thank you for being here today. To the family members of our class 2404, thank you all very much for taking the trip. I got to say that earlier today, but I'm going to say it again because it's immensely important. She alluded to the fact that this is one of many milestones that they will achieve in their career, and it couldn't have been done without you all from the beginning and from here on forward as well. So thank you all very much for making the trip. Thank you all very much for supporting these fine individuals as we move forward today. To the class 2404, thank you all very much again for letting me be here and speak with you here today. I have not yet spoken at a pilot training graduation class, so you're taking your own lives in your hands, if you will. But I appreciate you giving me the open mic. More importantly, though, I probably remember very little, if not, the colonel was not the speaker, but I don't remember much about my graduation day, nor do I remember the speaker or what they had to say. So I'm going to attempt to do something a little bit different as far as that's concerned. I'll try and impart some important wisdom, and then more importantly to everybody else in the room, I'll try and be eloquent, I'll try and be brief, and then I'll be gone. All right, so as I was getting ready for today's event, I started thinking about the commencement speeches that you've seen, the whole admiral standing up there at Texas University saying make your bed and all those things that go viral. That's not going to happen here today, but I'm going to attempt to impart those words of wisdom so that way there's something you guys can remember. And then also if DC's in the crowd, he would know that if I was speaking too eloquently, I stole it from somebody. So here's what we got. Over the years, but definitely more as I was lieutenant and a captain, I'd hear lieutenant colonels, and other old guys in the military. And yes, for the family members, by military standards, I am an old guy. And they'd stand up here and say, I wish I were in your shoes. So much like you all, I'd probably hear those words, I'd black out just a little bit, I'd roll my eyes and say, yeah, sure, you'll take your wings, you'll take your experience, you'll take your paycheck, and just push it all aside in order to be back in this seat. You're full of it. But I submit to you that they actually knew what they were saying, and it took me a long time to actually figure out what it was they're saying. So with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and ask you all not to do what I did, was don't black out, stick it with me for just a couple minutes, because I promise this will be 5 minutes or less, something hopefully you can hang on to. I'm going to provide you just a little bit of clue what they might have been saying. So first off, you don't yet know what it is, what kind of pilot you're going to be. You have the world of potential, so I'm begging you, do not squander that event. When you get to your first duty assignment after passing Kirtland, whether it be as a senior lieutenant at that point in time or maybe a brand new captain, I'm going to say embrace being a lieutenant, all right? So even if you're a captain, go ahead. Embrace that lieutenant time. Make the popcorn, plan the social events, have a good time being a lieutenant. However, at the same time, I beg you not to stop seeking perfection in your aviation skills. Practice your hovering, master your tactics, and for the love of God, read the damn book that we call the 3-3 and the 3-1. There's a bunch of old guys in this room and many other rooms who have spent decades mastering what's written down in those books, not only so that way you can learn, but that way you can learn from their mistakes and not your own. So please, continue to strive to do that. I once had a fellow instructor with me at Davis Monthan who said, just be an athlete. It was his excuse for not reading the book. And he was only half right. I agree with him 100%, be an athlete. However, I want you to be a professional athlete. What does it mean when I tell you to be a professional athlete? What is the difference between the high school jock and, for the old folks in the ground, think Al from Polk High back in the day? What is the difference between the high school person who petered out and the person who became a professional? It's an oversimplification, but here we go. It's the attention to detail, it's the study, it's the hours of tape, it's the debrief, it's the effort put in to perfecting their art and their craft. So make sure you do that. Know your strengths, know your weaknesses, know those of your adversary, continue to study through and through. And when it's all on the line, do be an athlete, but be that professional athlete and then win. There's no looking back, there's no could have been, would have been, if only I knew then what I know now. It's that time to make the decision, act, and be the professional athlete that you need to be. So that's the first part of what I believe they were saying and what I'm saying now when people say, I wish I were in your shoes. Second, I look at you all and I can't help but remember the people that went through school with me in 06 and 07, specifically my class 07, 03. We never got older. I know that's hard to believe, but our bodies betrayed us. So I'll just leave it at that. But we look at ourselves the same way that you all right now look at each other. As I get a little bit older, they pay me now to do more of the business side of the Air Force, not so much on the flying side. So my days of useful consciousness as far as aviation is concerned are starting to dwindle. But rather than make this sound like a eulogy, my point of this is to say, you're young, you're excited, you're full of energy, you're fearless, and you're ready to own the world. So I challenge you to make the world bend to your will, challenge and to change the world. Push the boundaries that are possible and fight to change the world. No. Find ways to get to yes, find the ways to get to yes, but accomplish your mission and continue to drive through. Make the impossible your standard and make the old guys like myself fight to keep up with you all. I promise you the struggle is worth it, is worth the effort in order to make sure your mission is achieved, because we need you all to accomplish that mission. Now, as you continue to go on in the world of aviation, you'll do amazing things. Some of you are going to execute difficult and challenging hovers in difficult terrain, as some hiker gets lost in the mountains in a surprise snowstorm in zero illumination. Another one of you is going to fly halfway across Africa in order to pull Department of State individuals out of a non-combatant evacuation type mission in a confined embassy yard. And still others are going to fly into hot LZs in a high, hot, dusty environment in order to save an 18-year-old with a gunshot wound. You will do these things, these spectacular feats, and 1,000 things I can't think of. And they're going to be amazing, and it's what is demanded of you in order to execute your mission, independent of what airframe you are going into. Me personally now, speaking about my background, I have attempted to live my life by a simple code. That code for us is the code of the Air Rescueman. It is my duty as a member of the Air Rescue Service to save life and aid the injured. I will be prepared at all times to perform my assigned duties quickly and efficiently, placing these duties before personal desires and comforts. If you look at those words, they are about your duty, your challenge, your effort in order to make sure you are ready at a moment's notice. In addition to that, a lot of people focus on that others may live. Please, for the love of God, I'm telling you, just like in the movie Patton, it's not your job to die for your country, but make the other poor dumb bastard die for his. So when I say these things we do that others may live, it is a challenge, it is an invitation back into the world of living that you are extending to others. I use that as specifically, it doesn't matter if you're a CV, a UH, or a 60. It's the same thing, you are bringing them back from the brink. Doesn't matter who they are or where you are. So with that in mind, remember that you are the hope to the hopeless, you are the light in the dark. Be that for that individual and make the effort before it is demanded of you. I like to remind my pilots that an entire career of routine flying and training environments, your entire career may be summed up in one 15-minute block of time. In that 15 minutes, be sure that you are ready. Your instructors have done it, your instructors here have done it. The ones you're going to meet, again, in initial qual, they have accomplished the mission as well. The people on the ground that you are helping, the crews that you will fly with, they need the best from you in that moment. Execute your sortie to perfection, and it will be my pleasure to serve with you from this day forward. As I look, old guys, again, we like to say that we were in your shoes because we know what is possible, because you all are our future, and we know what you can achieve if only you apply yourself just a little bit. So with that in mind, again, I said I'd be done in about 5 minutes or so, and hopefully you focused on that one. But it is my privilege, it is my honor to stand here with you guys today. Your families have worked hard to help you get here. You have worked immensely hard in order to finish the course and get to this point as well. I only met you this morning, and I'm very proud of every one of you for the effort you put forward and the promises and sacrifices that you have made. As you go forward, continue to strive for perfection. For the families, if I can be that proud and I just met you, I know that everyone sitting behind you is immensely proud of the efforts that you've put in as well. Again, demonstrated by the fact that they made the effort to be here with you today. So thank you again, all once again, for being here. So with that in mind, though, you can't do any of the stuff that I talked about without a set of wings on your chest. So now that's what you're all here for. And so I will start to wind down. But again, thank you very much for everything. Thank you for your efforts, and congratulations. Now we'll go ahead and make it official. Thank you all.
At this time, Class 2404 will receive their wings and certificates. First Lieutenant Spencer Adams was born and raised in Whitman, Massachusetts. He graduated from Bridgewater State University in 2021 with a Bachelor's of Science in Aviation Management. Prior to HTN, he served as a casual lieutenant at Fort Novosel, Alabama. Lieutenant Adams will fly the UH-1 November at Andrews Air Force Base, Maryland, with the 1st Helicopter Squadron. Lieutenant Adams will be receiving his wings from his mother, Heidi Adams, and his father, Michael Adams. First Lieutenant Julia Baldazar was born and raised in Cincinnati, Ohio. She graduated from the United States Air Force Academy in 2021 with a Bachelor's of Science in Astronautical Engineering. Prior to HTN, she graduated from the Air Force Institute of Technology in 2022 with a Master of Engineering in Applied System Engineering. Lieutenant Baldazar will fly the CB-22 Bravo at Kirtland Air Force Base, New Mexico with the 58th Training Squadron. Lieutenant Baldazar will be receiving her wings from her husband, Lieutenant Jacob Beinecke, her mother, Kim Baldazar, and her father, Brian Baldazar. First Lieutenant Ryan Goodman was born and raised in Cary, North Carolina. He graduated from the University of North Carolina, Charlotte in 2021 with a Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. Prior to HTN, he served as a casual lieutenant at Fort Novosel, Alabama. Lieutenant Goodman will fly the HH-60 Whiskey at Kadena Air Force Base, Japan with the 33rd Rescue Squadron. Lieutenant Goodman is receiving his wings from his father, Roy Goodman, and his mother, Shale Brucker. First Lieutenant Jordan McDonald was born and raised in Trinidad, Colorado. She graduated from the United States Air Force Academy in 2021 with the Bachelor of Science in Military Strategic Studies. Prior to HTN, she was the aide-de-camp for Major General Ed Thomas at Randolph Air Force Base, San Antonio, Texas. Lieutenant McDonald will fly the HH-60 Whiskey at Kadena Air Force Base, Japan, with the 33rd Rescue Squadron. Lieutenant McDonald is receiving her wings from her cousin Bryson Crow, her aunt Diane Crow, her uncle Jeff Brace, her aunt Sheila Brace, her mother Lana Kaufman, and her husband Morgan McDonald. First Lieutenant Catherine Steeren was born and raised in Napa, California. She graduated from the United States Air Force Academy in 2021 with a Bachelor of Science in Military History. Prior to HTN, she graduated from Ohio University in 2022 with a Master of Arts in Military History. Lieutenant Steeren will fly the UH-1 November at Andrews Air Force Base, Maryland, with the 1st Helicopter Squadron. Lieutenant Steeren will be receiving her wings from her husband, Lieutenant Nathan Steeren, her father, David Power, and her mother, Barbara Power. First Lieutenant John Sipsky was raised in Newtown Square, Pennsylvania. He graduated from Purdue University in 2021 with a Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. Prior to HTN, Lieutenant Sipsky served as a casual lieutenant at Fort Novosel, Alabama. Lieutenant Sipsky will fly the CV-22 Bravo at Kirtland Air Force Base, New Mexico, with the 58th Training Squadron. Lieutenant Sipsky will be receiving his wings from his wife, Lieutenant Michaela Sipsky, his father, Bob Sipsky, and his brother, Brian Sipsky. Second Lieutenant Bradley Bethelio was born in Oakland, California. He graduated from Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University in 2020 with a Bachelor's of Science in Aeronautics, and in 2023 with a Master of Science in Human Factors. Prior to HTN, he was a flight engineer on the HH-60 Gulf for 10 years. Lieutenant Bethelio will fly the HH-60 Gulf at Moffett Air National Guard Base, California, with the 129th Rescue Squadron. Lieutenant Bethelio will be receiving his wings from his wife, Sean Bethelio, his father, Sean Bethelio, and his mother, Kim Bethelio. this time, Lieutenant Colonel Tope will present the awards for Class 2404. The Military Leadership Award is an award based on military bearing, integrity, leadership, professionalism, and dedication. Each student in the graduating class, along with the staff of the 23rd Flying Training Squadron, provides their input to the commander. The commander then selects the most deserving student for this award. The recipient of the Military Leadership Award is First Lieutenant Jordan McDonald. The Academic Award is presented to the individual who best exemplifies the highest standards of excellence through self-study, testing, and academic evaluation. The students are tested in 6 demanding subject areas. The recipient of the Academic Award is First Lieutenant John Sipsky. The Flying Training Award is presented to the graduating student with the highest flying grade point average throughout helicopter flight training. The recipient of the Flying Training Award is First Lieutenant John Sipsky. The Distinguished Graduate Award is presented to the graduating student with the highest overall percentage grade compiled from their academic scores, their flying scores, and their flight commander's ranking. The recipient of the Distinguished Graduate Award is First Lieutenant John Sipsky. At this time, Dedallian's Silver Wings flight representative, Mr. Kyle Taylor, will come forward to present the Order of Dedallian's AETC Commander's Trophy. This award is given to a graduating student who clearly demonstrated superior airmanship and those several qualities unique to Dedallian's. The recipient of the Order of Dedallian's AETC Commander's Trophy Award is First Lieutenant John Sipsky. At this time, Lieutenant McDonald and Lieutenant Goodman will come forward to present a few gifts.
Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of Class 2404, at this time, we would like to give our guest speaker our class gift and thank him for his time for being here with us tonight. In addition, also on behalf of Class 2404, we would also like to gift our flight commander, Captain Genovese, with another class gift.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the United States Air Force's newest helicopter pilots. Helicopter Training Next, Class 2404. Please remain standing for the Air Force song and the departure of the official party. This concludes the graduation ceremony. We invite you to join Lieutenant Colonel Renault and Lieutenant Colonel Tope in congratulating Class 2404. Thank you for joining us today.